want to get into a little bit of this because I'm truly excited. We clamored for a defensive tackle, a defensive end, a rush in, something to make this line better. Before we get from Brad Holmes, because we do have some sound that Peter's going to cook for a second, but let me just read this. Tyleik Williams, first interior defensive lineman Detroit selected in the first round draft since 2011. Any guesses as to who that was?
Oh, sorry.
No, you're good. First Ohio State defensive lineman. So these are just a little bit about the draft itself. But we don't need to read anything. How about we hear from the man himself, draft guru, Brad Holmes.
Super excited how everything went tonight to be able to acquire Tyleik. Obviously been watching him for a really long time. He's played a lot of football there at a very consistent level, and he just has a lot of traits and qualities that we're looking for, and he's going to fit right in here like a glove. So we spent a lot of time with him during the process leading up to this, and we were very, very impressed after each time that we were able to spend time with him.
And this is also what we've been talking about. This is kind of what we got in our heads. Anson, you were there from jump, just talking about, hey, everybody calm down. Brad Holmes will figure this thing out, trust in Brad. And so eventually we got to that space. I said, hey, look, I said he wouldn't move up.
Right.
And when we had Scott Bishop, I said it just doesn't seem like this is a draft where people are clamoring to move up and et cetera. So they got to pick at that. I am a proponent of who's your coach. Like, I'm a proponent of who your coach is. I talked about the Georgia guys. I named all of them. I named Trey Smith. I said, look at what he's done. Look at what he's put in the league. You can trust the stock that comes from him. Talking about Jalen Walker or Mikael Williams. What? Larry Johnson Sr.? Do I need to go down the list of defensive linemen that have come out of Ohio State coached by Larry Johnson Sr., Chase Young? When he came out, remember he was both the Bosa brothers, Hubbard, who just retired, Sam Hubbard from Cincinnati. The list goes on, and this is just another one. When you look at the games, you're like, man, where's the sack? I don't see the sack. It's not about the sack. It's not about the number. It is about the force multiplier in the middle. That's what he does. He may not have had sacks against Notre Dame, against Texas, against Oregon, against Michigan. But if you look at the guys next to him, 5 sacks next to him in the Notre Dame game, 4 sacks next to him the Texas game, 6 sacks next to him the Oregon game.
Wow.
Michigan, yeah, that was another story. Had to throw that in there. But that's how you judge a guy. Look at what the guys are doing around him when you're looking at a big defensive tackle in the middle. Brad Holmes, he went and got his guy. What do you think before we go to the next clip?
I absolutely love it. I didn't like the edges after the top 12 to 15 picks. Once Harmon was off the board, I'm looking to fill that middle.
Stupid Steelers.
Huge question mark right now over Aleem McNeil's head. When is he going to get here? But this guy's very versatile.
Yeah.
He's got high-level production at the college level, and he brings the culture. He matches up with what this culture is here in Detroit. I'd like to see him paired with another Ohio State defensive lineman in the second round, which could happen.
Side.
But I think that this screams Dan and Brad. And I know that there were some people kind of waiting to be excited, waiting to be upset, and they didn't really know. The strength of these defensive tackles at the end of the first round, it was just too much for this regime to pass on one of these guys, and I really think they got it right.
Listen, the word on the street was the Philadelphia Eagles reached out to Brad Holmes and said, we want to come up. Do you want to come down to the last spot? And they almost pulled the trigger. And Brad Holmes said there were a couple of offers to move down, but we're hearing that it was the Eagles because the Eagles did something with Kansas City. But they were worried about Buffalo because they thought the Buffalo Bills loved this kid, and they were going to pair him with their great defensive line. So that's why he stood, because supposedly Tyleik Williams was a second-round talent, is what they say, okay? But a lot of people, including our favorite guy, and of course that would be Baldy. We'll play that in a minute for you. Baldy loves this pick, and look, Brad Holmes knows what he's doing. We all bitch and complain, at least I do, about the free agency and all of that, but this guy knows how to draft. So it's in his hands. I'm so good with it.
Yeah, it was definitely in his hands, and he definitely knows how to draft. This is what they needed, though. This is what they wanted. The defensive line, you got to add bodies. That's what we saw towards the end of the year. Look, there were a lot of injuries on that defense as a whole, but the defensive line is the one that really hampered and really hurt this team in the stretch, especially against the Commanders. So you get a guy, you got bodies now. There's some guys that will be coming back this year. Don't forget about Mekhi Wingo, comes out of LSU.
Oh, yeah.
Yep.
There's a lot of spaces they
right.
have, man. But
That's
definitely
Anson's
excited.
guy.
And he's 335. He'll be 320 by the time the season starts, man. This is a guy that'll get a lot of use and a lot of playing time with guys being injured, guys coming back. He'll be serviceable for the start of the season to get ready for the end of the season. I like the potential for what this guy could be, and I'm a huge Larry Johnson fan. Larry Johnson Sr. may be, for me, the only thing out of Ohio State that I can say I actually like. I like Larry Johnson Jr. Senior. Love what he's done. And then he got a chance to coach a couple years back. But nah, trust the talent that comes out of that defensive line.
The obsession in this town for an edge opposite of Aiden Hutchinson, it's been going on for a couple of years now. But right when you started this off, you mentioned something really, really important. He might not have gotten the sacks, but the guys on the other sides of him did. Our edge rushers got better with this pick. Our defensive line got deeper and better with this pick. Our secondary, they got a little bit better too.
Talk about it.
No doubt. So I think that this fits in exactly what they needed. And you don't, I looked back through all of the last 20 Super Bowl winners. They don't have crazy sack totals on the edge. When you look at the J.J. Watts and the Myles Garrett's, the premier edge rushers in this league, there aren't many Super Bowl rings to go around. It's about the 4. It's about the 7, 8, 9 in depth that you have. And that's what these guys are doing. We've had that on the offensive line. Now we're starting to build it on the defensive line, too.
Yeah, and that's what you saw with the Rams when they won the Super Bowl. They had Aaron Donald for a bunch of years. They had Robert Quinn, but got rid of him. But then when they won, they had Von Miller on one side. They had Aaron Donald in the middle. You had Floyd on the other side. You were able to do multiple things. Pete, you said you had something, man. Come on. Let's Pete Cook.
I appreciate you there, Braylon. I just wanted to add to your guys' conversation because, Braylon, you're absolutely you play in the NFL. You know these NFL players better than anybody. You're absolutely right. And the great thing about I heard 3 great words last night about Tyleik Williams' pick. 2 of those words were Larry Johnson, and the other word was disruptor. And it's like, and you said it, Anson, he makes everybody around him better. That pick last night was a pick to protect his defensive line and protect all of his players on the defense, and what a great pick. That's all I wanted to say about that, Bray. It was just a wonderful pick.
The chat's got some things to say as well. They want to chime in. Dexter James with $5. Happy Friday to you all. Do you think we should go for an O lineman round 2 or possibly trade up to get an edge rusher? How should Brad cook? Christopher Evans with a super chat as well. Casey Rogers will coach him up well. Inkster to LA. Love that name. Do the Lions still go after a defensive end in the draft, or do they sign someone who may get cut after minicamp? I think Z's coming back. We'll get to that,
I do too.
And then Byrne, he's a constant in there.
Who said that?
Byrne, I watched Tyleik's interview from before the national championship. In hindsight, he is the most obvious Dan Campbell guy ever. Also, he is a monster. And then Dante 151, super chat legend. I really love the pick. And are the Steelers going to roll with Rudolph at QB? Because if so, then the Steelers are going to Steeler. Also, I did like the Jets pick, just to let you know, Bray.
Future reference, you got to read one at a time.
I'm realizing that they're just piling up. I want to get through them before they drag off the top there. Lots to talk about, though, and it seems like we don't have the people complaining about this draft. It seems like they're on board.
I think coming into this draft, I think people started to get more comfortable with the idea of what this team was and what this team could be if they were completely healthy. I know it's an if, but hey, it's the if that we have. I think people are confident. I think people are confident in Brad Holmes' choice. What did he say? What did the individual say in the comments? He said, I saw his interview before. When you watch an interview with anybody that Brad Holmes has drafted, by the way, saw Jahmyr Gibbs last night sitting courtside, they're Brad guys.
Yeah.
As soon as you hear their voice, as soon as you hear him answer a question, as soon as you hear him talk about a teammate, yeah, this is the guy. Yeah, he's going to fit the locker room. And I think that this guy will fit the locker room. I love his slide, like the versatility he has. I know we brought that word up. As a 335-pound man, he can move. I remember when Shawn Rogers was drafted here to Detroit Lions. Big Shawn Rogers out of Texas, played with him in Cleveland Browns. For that size that he was, man, he could do anything on that defensive line. We used to line him up at tight end and have some fun and some red zone packages. That's what you see Tyleik do as well, man. He could slide down the line of scrimmage. There was a play that they showed in his draft breakdown. He slid down the line of scrimmage to meet the quarterback on an option. He met the quarterback in the backfield. Like, he slid down at 335. Just wait till he gets to the league. But he fits. And this is Brad Holmes talking about him fitting this team.
He has the physical skill set. He's got the, the power. He's got the bend and the agility. Like, he's a very nimble athlete. But the thing about it is that he's incredibly instinctive too. In my opinion, him and one other DT that was in this class were the top 2 instinctive defensive tackles in this whole class, and he was one of those guys. So I think his versatility is really going to help. He has a lot of similar traits to Aleem McNeil. Almost similar body type. I just think that, he might be, Aleem came out more nose tackle-ish a little bit. Obviously slimmed his body down, became a 3 technique. I think he's kind of coming in closer to that right now.
Yeah, this is about another guy that can play the game. He comes from he comes from a school, national championship. You have to respect that. You have to respect that defensive line coach and Larry Johnson Sr. And you just got to respect what this guy is. I think it's going to be a really good pick. It's one of those picks that I didn't foresee, but now that it's happened and I'm just kind of looking at everything, this is a really good pick.
Does Detroit trust Brad and Dan all of a sudden?
It's a fair question.
Took a few years, right?
Yeah.
Took a few years of people scratching their head and complaining after the draft, after each day. Last night was a prime guy. It wasn't a guy that's been on everybody's list, not a guy targeted in the top 25. In fact, a guy that was, between 33 and 41 on a lot of lists that I saw. This was
Can I ask you a question? We've never talked about this element of it. They find these guys that maybe would have gone a little lesser. Maybe he's a 2nd-round pick. Maybe Brian Branch sneaks to the 3rd round for some reason. And they bring him in. Is it almost like these players like, I have to perform from this individual? Because they may have saved me from being a later pick. They may have saved me from going to a situation like they chose me. My name wasn't here. I wasn't rumored to be picked here. And now you come here, it's a loyalty type of thing. Is that potentially something you can see?
I haven't thought of that angle, and I love that angle.
It's crazy. It's true.
Because when you're better than the 25 or the 40 ranking that they're giving you, and hey, I'm a top 20 guy, and you go in and you meet with a guy that also sees that, a guy that's running a team, and hey, we love you. You might be not, low on other people's list, but we got you on that top 18 I always talk about, and they certainly did. I know they were sweating that the Falcons were going to take him. So at that point, I think you're both meeting each other in the middle. Hey, you want to be responsible to this guy that had faith in you, but at the same time, Dan and Brad, they continue to do this. They continue to find these guys in the later rounds and take these chances. I mean, I love the idea of Manu having that loyalty. Like, he was taken much earlier than I think he thought he was going to be. At that point,